All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm going to do another garage Rambletron here. So we got Corncob's carburetor all put back together. I would have liked to do a in-depth video of what was going on inside and what all I like to do on these, but I don't really have the time to do that sometimes. So I apologize for that, but what all we did was we put it in the ultrasonic and cleaned it all up, and then I got it torn apart. I did have one mistake. After I took it out of the ultrasonic, I didn't blow it off and take it apart and dry it all out properly before I let it sit. I ultrasonicked it and dried up the outside, but I didn't dry the inside well enough apparently, because there was a lot of stuff I had to manually clean up. You know, kind of like what we got. Trying to focus. Kind of like this stuff back here, this white stuff. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if it's scale from the water or if it's from the simple green, residue from that or what, but whatever it is, it was annoying because it was on stuff. But I got it cleaned up for the most part. This wasn't a visual restoration, it was more of a functional restoration, but I did try to pretty it up where I could. Just, I wasn't going to get crazy about things. But what we did do is we cleaned it all out. We got a filter in the filter housing because it didn't have one, and it probably would have needed replaced anyways. We got a new choke element in because I was told the other one didn't work, but it ended up being fine. But since we had it in the parts, we replaced it. Everything down in there was all seized up. There's some weights and linkages that control the choke. So it took some torching, and you have to be pretty careful with that since this pot metal, it likes to, I don't want to call it pot metal. It's a zinc alloy of some sort. Anyways, you don't want to get that too hot. Otherwise, it'll fall apart on you. But the steel parts, you can heat them up to get them free. So now that's all working right. This one doesn't have the what you might call it on it, the fast idle linkage that would normally be down here. I'll ask Corncob if he wants to have it put on or not, but I don't think it's really necessary for his application. He's run it like this for years without that. But what we do have is I got the choke pull-off put on. We got a new one since the other one the diaphragm was bad. We got the linkages working on that properly. So what that'll do is whenever the choke is cold, the element in there will pull the linkage and pull the choke flap shut. And whenever you get engine vacuum, it'll pull the choke open just enough to get more air in, and we can adjust that on the engine to see what it likes. The way you do that is you bend your linkages just a little bit. That, and there's an adjustment on the back of the choke pull off. So yeah, it'll pull it open by that or by that, and when the choke element heats up, it'll obviously pull it open on its own. But it's important to get all that working right. It'd be nice to have the fast idle on there, but it'll be okay without it, I think. The main thing is you won't have to pump it to reset everything. It'll just reset itself. Basically, whenever power's cut off to the choke element, everything will come back to rest, and when it's on, it'll slowly open up. So, we'll see if that works properly, or how we want it to anyways. I keep saying this because this carburetor we put on his truck, we found this in the attic of a guy's barn, probably back in, what year was it? 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. Corncob and I went up to an hour north of here, and we picked up a few carburetors. That way we had parts for his truck and for mine and for a few other people's. So we found these carburetors. Actually, I know what we were doing. We bought the transmission whenever I was doing the manual transmission swap. And then we found these while we were there. And he was running an Edelbrock on his truck at the time because that's how we bought it. And we put this one on it because I talked up how good Quadrajets were. And I do think they're good carburetors whenever they're set up right. So it's not made for his truck, but we made it work. And we're going to try to get it tuned in. What else did we have going on? The spring on the secondary wasn't on there right, so it wasn't opening up the secondaries how it's supposed to. And again, what makes these so good is whenever you're driving on your primaries most of the time, and then you press it all the way and it opens up the secondaries. Just on that last, like, 7/8 of throttle. Well, last 3/4 of throttle. The first 2/3 to 3/4, it's only on the primaries, and then it cracks the back just a little bit, just to get a little bit of air flowing. But when you stomp it down the rest of the way, it opens it up. And you want to make sure they're at 90. Hope I'm not making you guys dizzy. Last thing I need to do on this is get some spring type lock washers for back in here. Let me see if I can get this to focus better. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I need to get some lock washers because that's what's left of the originals. They're pretty broken up and crusty. So we will get some new ones on that one, and this will be done, other than putting it on my truck to test it out before we get it back over to Corncob's house. But yeah, you open up the secondaries, and then the engine can only pull so much air at a time, and when it needs it, it opens up the flap the rest of the way. So it's pretty much a variable volume carburetor. I'm not doing it justice. I'm not a man of words. I just work and make stuff. I'm trying to bring you guys along with me. So that's what we have for the carburetor. And I'll probably make a video whenever we get it on the truck. Other than that, things that are going on in the shop. We got the drill press partially apart to do the bearings. I've got the shaft here that normally goes up in here. Where does it go? Normally goes up in this area. It runs off of this gear down here and spins the whole shaft, and then you've got your low and your high speed gears. And it also powers the auto feed, which I've currently got out of the way and taken apart. That way I could work on it. There was a pin that I had to knock out to get the thing out. I tracked down like the only guy in the world that has another one of these that had any information that I could gain. I found him on vintagemachinery.com. And then I did a people search and found his phone number. Kind of creepy, but I don't know how else to get a hold of some of these people. You send messages and people never message you back. So sometimes I just go on the internet and try to get lucky and find people's phone numbers. And I've gotten lucky between this and a few other things for that. But yeah, we'll redo the Babbitts in this. I've got bad Babbitt there and up there. So pretty much what was happening was that hole that's supposed to be a circle, you can't really see it too well, but it turned into an oval. So the whole shaft was coming backwards and the gears were jumping. So that's no good. If I want to make this work, I got to get the bearings right. So I had to take that out. And we're going to clean this up the best we can and get it hot with the torch. I'm going to try to put my cutting head on and use that to heat it up, because that's the best thing I have for heating. I don't have a rosebud tip. At least I don't think I do. But we're going to get it nice and hot. We're not going to melt the old Babbitt out. We're going to try to melt into it. I've got a block of Babbitt, and we're going to heat up my ladle, and with that shaft in there, I'm going to dam up the bottom. I'll probably make some blocks of wood or something to dam it up, or clay or something. We're going to get the shaft in there right where we want it, and we're going to pour the Babbitt in. I'm going to get the shaft as clean as I can. I'll wire wheel it and run some emery paper over it. You can see where the Babbitt runs. It runs right there and right there. So I will clean this all up. I'm going to soot it up with the torch. Put it up in there. Get it right where I want it. And pour the Babbitt in. And hopefully it works. I don't know if it will or not. If it doesn't work, then I've got to take this all apart and do it the proper way, I guess. Melt it all out and fixture it, and you can look up Babbitt videos. But I don't have two shells that I can take apart and take out. It's all part of the frame, how it is. So I'm just gonna try to fix what's there. And if I get that right and everything else works, all the other bearings are okay. I mean, the primary shaft, it's got a little bit of wiggle in it. I don't know if I can get into where you can see it. It's got some wiggle in it, but it works. I don't think I'm gonna mess with that one. I'm just gonna oil it up well. Whenever it starts skipping or it gets really bad or it won't keep any oil in it, then maybe we'll address it. But for now, we're just gonna run it. I want to change out the head to a Jacob's chuck. I need to figure out how to do that. It's got this weird antique chuck. They called it a safety chuck back in 1901 when they made this thing. Pretty much this collar screws down and a wedge comes in on the shaft. And it only accepts 5/8 shanks. Right now I've got a 1/2-inch shank bit in there, and that's why it wobbles a little bit. So I don't know if I'll get a Jacob's chuck and put a 5/8 shank on it and just chuck it up in there, or if I don't know, maybe I'll try to make something custom that threads right onto it. I'm not 100% sure yet. But I've got some comb pulleys off of an old metal lathe. Step pulleys, comb pulleys, whatever you want to call it. So I'm thinking about driving this big one off of a jack shaft with a little pulley back here that goes to the cone pulleys. and then have that powered by the motor, the bottom one being the motor and the cone pulley. So we'll have a motor, cone pulley on a jack shaft over to a little pulley that runs this. So we'll have 3 speeds off of the motor, and then we'll have the 2 speeds as it had original. I think that'll be the best way to do it because, you know, the fun of this drill press is everything's out in the open. Someone once told me people like steam engines because it's an honest machine. All the mechanicals are out in the open for everyone to see. This is an honest machine. It's got everything out in the open. It's not like modern drill presses where it's a motor and belts that are hidden and everything. This has gears and belts and everything that spins, and it just looks pretty neat when it's running. So I'm going to have a flat belt. You have a flat belt up to a jack shaft with another flat belt with bevel gears and other gears and clutches and these doodads that go back and forth. I think it's going to look pretty neat. I like that idea better than doing a treadmill motor on the back of it. I don't think that's going to do the machine justice. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll see if it works. And there's the return spring for the quill up there. I want to see if I can use this thing as my main drill press, because I like putting old machines to use, giving them a second life. This thing made somebody money way back in the day. Somebody bought this for their blacksmith shop and they were doing jobs with it. So I'm going to get it restored, see if I can make it useful. If I can't, I'll either sell it or keep it as a conversation piece, but, you know, space is precious in the garage, so conversation pieces don't last around here unless they don't take up much space. Yeah. So that's that. There's the moon car. What do you have to say, Miss Nora? Is that all for today? All right. Like, subscribe, share this, say hi in the comments, tell me anything you liked or didn't like. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, everyone.